Hey everyone, this is Corinne Lafont, your favorite radio host, your only radio host. I'm between the lines. Come on, this is your favorite girl, broadcasting to you from Trinidad and Tobago, a lovely Caribbean island, and at least a Caribbean island in the Caribbean. What am I saying? Blah blah blah. All right, lovely island in the Caribbean. And so it's a pleasure to be here with Barbara Ames. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Barbara Ames, and I'm so thankful. I always show a level of gratitude for my shows. I mean, today I ended up doing two because I should have had Barbara last week. Was it Barbara? I
I
should
think
have
so.
had last week, yeah. And this week, can't even remember, but it doesn't matter right now. She's here with me. Okay, that's the point. Yeah, she's here now, and we focus on now. Forget what happened yesterday, last week, whatever. She's here now, and I'm so happy to have her here. I'm so happy to be alive, breathing, could still say my name, and all of those things, and to see the beauty of God's gift and His creation and people and love. Give more love, 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 love to others out there in the world, and to be able to bring this show to you to empower, educate, inspire, get you to, get off your ass, whatever it takes to do what you need to do. Just wake up, or just start thinking differently, changing your paradigms, as Bob Proctor says it and Napoleon Hill. Yeah, changing those paradigms, those old thoughts. And that's what we're talking about today, self imposed limitations of the mind. Let me repeat that, self imposed, so which means you put it on yourself, self imposed limitations of the mind. And I'm going to say a quick intro of Barbara, and then we're going to jump right into it. Okay. So, Barbara is an online business mentor and freedom navigator. I love that. I love when we could give ourselves our own titles. Barbara specializes in helping emerging coaches and other change makers who want an unchained business. So there's no slavery in this thing, okay? Unchained. Navigating the complexities of internet marketing as well as the self imposed limitations of the mind to forge the shortest path to financial independence and a joy filled life. Welcome, Barbara Ames, to Between the Lines.
Well, thank you, Corinne Lafont. It's wonderful to be here with you.
It's great to be here with you. A couple of things. I had a thought in my mind, but it just went out. But I'm going to try and remember the other ones. I'm looking back at your bio here, and we're talking about the shortest path to financial independence. And we know the shortest path is what we were taught. I don't know. There's people will tell us things, and we start to believe until somebody else come and, as we say, unchain that thought. So the shortest path is what we have been told is the shortest distance is what? In between two lines is what? A straight line, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
In a linear world, yes.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that, Barbara, in a linear world. So you just agreed with me there, that in what I was saying, in that we were taught certain things in a particular, by people, and so somebody else will come and say something to dispel that, and we have to think differently. So I like how you said in a linear world, and we know different worlds, universes, etc. exist. So if we were transported somewhere else, what we know now will clearly not apply over there. And it's all relative, it's all a construct. Nobody says that you have to live in this world. Nobody says you have to believe what people tell you in this world. Nobody says you have to accept and adapt to what you believe in this world. You can decide the type of world you want to be in and make up your own damn rules to that. Yeah.
Well, basically the way that I see things, Corinne, is I think the piece that a lot of people miss
Mhm.
is that we are actually creators.
Mhm.
That's what we are. That's what we do.
Mhm.
I like to liken it to the genie in the bottle. The Aladdin's lamp
Of course, I dream of
story,
genie.
right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we are all
Yeah.
that genie,
Mhm.
but most of us have amnesia, and we don't realize that we are actually creating the world. So what you were just talking about, other universes and it all being a construct of us, the world around you, and and it's really interesting because when you study or look at quantum physics, so science is now realizing that the world around you is, in a sense, you could say it doesn't exist. In other words, it's a reflection of you. So you're creating it. We're constantly creating the world and the people and the situations around us.
Yeah.
Which is scary on one side, but thrilling on the other when you actually realize that and start harnessing the power of that.
Wow, amazing. What about people walking around in the world having their own aspect of their own worlds and sort of forcing you or trying to get you to fit into their world?
Well, that's their problem, isn't it? Because that's the beautiful thing. Like I said, we all create our own world, and you can go and try your darndest. Here's the deal. If I conform to what you want me to be or do or have or whatever, it's only with my permission, darling. It's just with my permission. So I don't have to conform to that. One of the places, I think, let's bring it down a little bit more practically to practical things. I think one of the places that we can really start to exercise this and see for ourselves, and I'm sure you've probably heard the phrase, or your viewers have heard the phrase, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Damn right. I just finished that phrase.
There you go. But here's what happens. We make it our business. In other words, we allow it to affect us. So, I have in my head that you think I'm fat, for example, right? And so now I allow that to create a cascade of thoughts, and that in turn creates feelings. And now I'm feeling really bad about myself. I'm probably angry at you, what, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, in reality, what you think of me, it's none of my business. And if I let it affect what I think, which is what affects what we feel, then that's my thing. That's my thing. And I get to fix that. What we tend to do is point the finger out at the object of our bad feelings.
I love that.
The object of our bad feelings is our own thoughts.
Yeah.
Not you, right. My thoughts.
You're absolutely right. I've been doing some work on myself, and in doing that, I've been discovering a couple things. And I shared this in a couple episodes recently, this week actually, about your true self and your ego. And that ego is a killer, Barbara. And what you're talking about is really related to your ego, where you are let's go back to the fat example that you use, obese or whatever, fluffy, whichever term makes you feel comfortable. It's really, you think that somebody else thinks that you're fat, then you internalize that, which is your ego talking to you, telling you that you are fat, and you take it in and accept what the ego tells you because it convinces you, which is what the damn thing does. It convinces you this is what it is. Then, of course, feelings, emotions are attached to that because it knows how your body works, and you're going to have feelings about it. And so you are now going to try and do everything to lose the weight. You feel unloved, unacceptable. Everybody's looking at you. You're walking around like if you're around mirrors, everybody's looking at you. Oh, you can't wear this. You can't. And it puts you in such a roller coaster.
But it's all you. It's all you that did that.
Yeah.
Because whether that person may or may not think you're fat, and there's another important part of that too, Corrine, and that's the judgment. I mean, you could say it. You could say to me, Barb, you are fat as a hippo, or just whatever, right? And you could say that to one person, and their own thoughts will go, oh, and cascade down into everything that you mentioned. You could say it to somebody else who thinks that you could say that to Santa Claus, and Santa Claus would go, oh, I am. It's glorious, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not just the words, but it's the judgment that, being fat is a bad thing.
Yeah.
But that's all us. That's all us. And
it's societal. It's culturally pushed on us as well. So we have together with the ego, that voice you hear chatter, it is supported by society, it is supported by culture, it is supported by the people that you surround yourself with who gang up against you, Barbara.
I know, but guess what, Corinne?
Uh-huh.
I don't care.
Yeah,
People only gang up against me if I perceive that that's what they're doing.
exactly.
You can gang up against me all you want,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not paying you any attention, it's not going to affect me.
Yeah.
So that when I was talking about the genie in the bottle and being a creator,
Yes.
that's where we give that power away. If I let what you think about me, and mind you, what you think about me, I don't really know, right? But
Yeah.
if every time I let that affect my thoughts and hence my feelings,
Right.
I'm just giving you my power.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just totally giving it to you. And that's how as genies we have amnesia. It's even worse than amnesia. It's like we have power leaks all over it because we're giving it to everybody. We're giving it to people in our past. We're giving it to our parents.
Yeah.
And they're all just stories. They don't
Why are we giving it up? Why are we giving people permission to tell us who we are, what we will become? Why are we giving people that permission?
So
I
I want to
your answers first, and then I would throw in my little 2 cents.
So I want to put this out there. So this is something that I really coach my clients on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that why is a really poor quality question. And the quality of the answer, our quality of our life
Mm-hmm.
is really largely determined by the quality of questions that we ask.
Okay.
So if why is like, if we ask ourselves, for example, why can't I make myself, eat less? Why can't I do this? What possible answers could you come up with from that question? Oh, because you're got no willpower. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you're a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, in other words, just that question the answers that question leads to are not constructive. They're not going to
Provide
create
answers.
the answers that will lead you away from that or out of it or towards
I get you. I get you.
owning your power. So a better quality question is, what will it take? What will it take to stop worrying or stop allowing other people's supposed opinion, because most of the time we don't even know we think they think something of us and they think something entirely different. But what will it take for us to not let our perception of what somebody's opinion of us, what will it take for that to not affect us?
But you have to be at a certain point. But you have to be at a certain point, Barbara, to be aware, a certain level of consciousness and awareness.
Oh, absolutely.
To be able to ask even ask the question that way, and to be in such a level of awareness that that you can say to yourself, I'm comfortable with me and I'm willing to make that move, even if you're not comfortable with yourself. But you are so aware and conscious that you can say, take a step back and and just be willing to look inward.
Yes.
As opposed to outward. What would it take? What does it take? We're talking about self-imposed limitations. What does it take for the person to move from giving away all the power to one where they become so aware and conscious that they're now asking the question in the way that you just suggested it?
Well, you just gave the answer a minute ago.
I did? What was it?
You did. Awareness. It's stop and just become aware. You also mentioned earlier the egoic mind, right? Which is, it's so funny. Our thoughts are, here's a real truism. We are not our thoughts. Our thoughts are not us.
Say that again.
You are not your thoughts. So you and every person listening is the thinker of your thoughts. But here's what happened. Our ego, our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are like a reflection or a translation of our ego. They have just overtaken us. It's almost like the insane people have taken over the asylum when nobody was looking.
We've seen that movie, Barbara. We have seen that movie, right?
Well, yes, exactly. So like once you realize that, once you go, oh, I get to control my thoughts instead of my thoughts just yank me around, right? So now it's just like any practice or any habit or building any muscle. It just takes practice. And so the first step, you said it, was aware. So let's see. So my husband, let's just say we got in a little spat and he like said something that I thought, well, that was just a really mean thing for him to say. And I go storming out of the house for a dog walk. All right. So now my thoughts are probably going to sound like this. Well, he's so mean. And why would he do that? And that guy, he always blah, blah, blah. Right. Okay. So now step number 1 is where I go, hold it. Wait, whoops. I'm really like, listen to my thoughts. You don't have to be thinking those thoughts, right? And so now step 2 is like, so step 1 is notice, whoa, I'm really swirling in this. He said, he did, he is, whatever, right? And obviously I'm letting that work me up, right? I'm obviously worked up. So now step 2 is say, all right, well, let's substitute those thoughts. Oh, let's think about a beautiful beach and what I'm going to do when I go on my next island trip and how I'm going to, and now here's what happens. So Corinne, I always laugh at myself. In fact, I'm sure if somebody ever saw me like on a dog walk, I would probably look like half a crazy person because this is what they would see. I'm like walking down and then it's like, and now I'm on the beach again. Okay, we're on the beach. And then, but he is such a jerk. He shouldn't be doing that. And then it's like, no, I heard, and it's like, I feel like it's like you're arm wrestling. You're arm wrestling with your thoughts and they creep back in and you just let them take over for a while and they go, no, let's go back to that beach. And it's just, if you think about it, it's just like practicing or learning anything. And it just takes practice. But what happens with a lot of people is you either don't try you're not even aware that you have that ability to control those thoughts. B, you try it and it isn't easy. They creep back in, you go, oh, screw it, I can't do that. Which, I mean, imagine if that's how we approached riding a bicycle. The first time you got on the bike and you fell off and you go, oh, I can't ride bikes. I don't know how to do it. Right. Or whatever it is. But it just takes practice and dedication in doing it. But it's the kind of thing that really, really, really turns your whole life around.
I'm going to interject there. Sorry for cutting you because so many things are swirling around in my head.
Okay.
First to begin, let's start at the beginning, Barbara.
Boom.
Let's go back. Your thoughts are not you. That's what you're saying. Am I correct? You are not your thoughts.
Your thoughts. Yes, you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts.
You're the thinker of your thoughts. So you are not your thoughts. Now, we grow up hearing this voice. And I want to ask you the question about how is the ego formed? Because we're saying the ego is the thoughts. That voice chatter in your head telling you whatever, trying to convince you otherwise and ganging up on you and taking over your entire body and mind. This is what we are used to. So, I mean, typical scenario, everyday decision making, you talk to yourself. I mean, that sounds kind of weird now that I'm talking it out. You talk to yourself.
All day long.
All day long. You have a decision to make. You're thinking, should I turn left or should I turn right? Should I go straight? Should I go up the hill? Oh, I was supposed to do so and so today, and you're talking to yourself. This is what we are doing constantly. What are you saying to me and the listening audience and those who will be listening today? Should we not listen to that voice? Stop the chatter. Oh. What are we supposed to do? And how could you be telling us that when this is what we have been doing since we became aware of ourselves? And I say that because when we are babies, obviously that was not happening. And now that I mentioned that, I am looking in my mind as the babies. They seem very whimsical and no problem oriented, very carefree, do what they want, they're not scared. Because that voice probably hasn't been formed in their head at that point. So it comes back to my question, how the hell ego was formed, at what point it was formed, and how do we kill the damn thing?
Oh, hold it. We don't want to kill anything.
I want to kill it. I want to kill it. I want to kill it.
I understand. There are times you do. Like that example I gave, walking down the street, and I feel like I'm fighting with myself, you know. And then I just see the humor in it, and I start bursting out laughing, and that's why people think I'm probably about half a crazy person. All right, so that is a really great question. No, you don't want to kill it, but you want to realize that you are in charge of those thoughts, and those thoughts, Corrine, are very they're great. So here's what your brain is great at. So first of all, your brain, meaning your thoughts, are the number one function is to keep you safe.
Okay.
That's what it does, keeps you safe, right? And so I just want you to know that this is kind of a side road to what we're talking about. But when you mention decision, if those decisions are doing something that's outside of your comfort zone, your brain is going to invent all kinds of very logical sounding reasons for you not to do it, because being outside your comfort zone by definition is not safe as far as your brain is concerned. Okay, so that's one thing. So number two, your brain is excellent at problem solving. So should I turn left? Should I turn right? That's use it. Your thought. I mean, that's how we solve problems and use it. But you be the user. I need to figure out. So what data do I need to determine if I should turn right or turn left? All right. Now here's where your thoughts. So that's all what our brains should be doing for us, and we should be, commanding it, so to speak. Look, we are at essence, we should be the captain of our ship.
But the ego is the captain. But the ego is the captain.
And most of us walking this planet, the captain is like completely. The crew is just taken over, and the captain
mutiny. The insane people has taken over the asylum.
The insane people have taken over the asylum. So brain is great for problem solving, but where it turns sideways, where it gets us. But remember too that your thoughts feed your emotions. Your thoughts feed your emotions. So where those thoughts are not serving us is when it's working us up into a frenzy. Right? Like an emotional state that's not helping us move forward towards whatever it is we want to deliberately create in this world. No, I know when I say that we're creators,
yes.
A lot of people might go, they feel, well, that's not fair. I didn't create cancer. I didn't create this, whatever. And they can take it to that negative side, but know that you can create when you really embrace that concept and you start becoming the captain of your ship that controls your emotional state, and disease really is a function of your emotional body. Everything that's dysfunctional in the world,
it's all in your mind. It's all
it's in our emotions. It's our emotional field, but the thoughts are what produce the emotion. So we can't control the emotions, but we can control the thoughts.
Oh Lord, Barbara. Oh, let me take a breath.
It's kind of really cool, and there's all kinds of science that supports this. I'm not a scientist, so I can't quote you studies or whatever, but I read that stuff avidly. At the Eastern thought has been saying this for thousands of years, and now Western science is just catching up with it.
Wow. How do we're talking self-imposed limitations. What are some of the self-imposed limitations in your life personally that you had to grapple with? Because I'm sure whatever you may have gone through or going through, because it keeps, as you get rid of one, another one takes its place, and it's a constant.
Always.
What are some of those self-imposed limitations you have gone through and are going through? Because I'm sure it would resonate with the listening audience, and of course with me. And once you have discovered them, that is not serving you and it is actually hurting you, what have you done to put those insane people back into their cages?
Well said. Well, like I said, so grappling with your thoughts is an ongoing practice.
Mm.
So the first thing is intention to do that, to know, hear what I'm saying, hear what you're saying, and know that that's possible. And it takes practice, it takes time. You know, the amount of time now between when I have a trigger, right? So somebody says something, or somebody cuts me off in traffic, or something that makes you go, you know, have a reaction.
Mhm.
And the amount of time between that trigger, that external event, and my reaction to it, and then when I can grapple it and say, and go back to peace,
Mhm.
is so much shorter now.
Mhm.
But external, well, there circumstances happen. The triggers are all internal.
Mhm.
So that is just life. That's we're here on this earth
Mhm.
to go through this. Those is through those challenges that we grow.
Mhm.
But if we're not even aware of that happening, we're really just recycling the same thing over and over. External event, internal trigger, anger, fear, whatever, you know, disgust, then we're blah, 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 blah. But if you want to move forward in your life, if you want to grow, if you want to have things you don't have, go places you haven't been, do things you haven't done,
Mhm.
to do that we need to grow. And these are the challenges are what allow us to grow. That's
Yeah.
what I believe we're here on this planet to go through that. That's why we're in this physical body. And
Of
you know,
course. Of course.
right? So what are some of the things? So these thoughts also from a very young age create beliefs. So
Mhm.
it's those beliefs that we have, the belief that I'm fat, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I can't do math,
Mhm.
right? How many women listening to this? I
Yeah.
can't do math, right? Those are all beliefs that are fed by thoughts. So what happens at some point, you know, you have a belief that, wow, you know, you try to do, you know, algebra and you can't do anything. I can't do math.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now what happens, your thoughts feed that belief. So you basically just instructed your mind to give
Yeah.
you evidence of
Yeah.
that you can't do math. So then every time you try something and you can't do it, see, I can't do it. I promise you can't do it. Right. And you're going to find evidence. And that's the other thing that our brain is
Yeah.
really good at, is when we tune it to see what we want to see, it will find evidence
What
left.
the hell is that? What the hell is that? It finds the damn evidence, but somehow our inner self is not finding evidence to refute the damn thing.
Well, our inner self is the one that gets to control the thoughts. So when we hear our inner self say, I can't do math, we have the capability of saying, well, you know what? Um, Math, I can do math. You can reverse that.
Mhm.
And you might not believe it at first. Language is a really powerful thing, because language is just like it's like a peek into what's going on in your head. So
Mhm.
by shifting your language, you can start to shift your thoughts,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Like I always, when people's, like for example, if there's something that you want, you know, if I, you know, and you find yourself saying, wow, if I ever buy a house,
Mhm.
you know, one of the most powerful things you can do to shift that is just get in the habit of saying, if that's something that you want, let's say you really, 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 your biggest dream is to buy a house,
Mhm.
and every time you tell your friends, yeah, one day if I buy a house, I'm
One
going to have a
day.
picket fence or whatever. Simply changing that if to when.
Exactly. And go house hunting.
Yeah, go house
Go house
hunting. But
hunting.
instead of whenever, and catch yourself.
Mhm.
And like I do this with my clients all the time. They'll say, well, if I ever make $10,000 a month, I'm like, hold it.
Yeah.
When you make
And
10,000,
you make it.
but do you see, even like making yourself say that,
Mhm.
how that shift is
But it's
such.
frightening. It's frightening. It's frightening when you make that shift. When you hear yourself say it, it frightens you, because the fear of whatever it is that made you feel is impossible. The fear of it takes a grip of you that you're like, even though you're saying it with your mouth, the mind and the brain and you are having this tussle, saying, yeah, you could say it with your mouth, yeah. but do you really believe it? Which is really where the power lies. Do you really believe it? Because you could say anything with your mouth, but do you really believe it? Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite quotes is by Marianne Williamson.
Love her. Mm-hmm.
And she says, our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate.
Yeah.
Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond all measure.
Yeah.
I mean, I get chills just thinking about it, because that is like, when I even say that,
mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm cowering in my own godliness. And
of
yes,
course.
I call myself God.
But we are all gods, Barbara.
That's exactly right.
I don't mean it in a derogatory way or defiling way. You mentioned at the beginning of this that we are creators. God created us. God saw us, whatever. So
and we are God. Yes.
We are creators. He put us here, planted in us a seed of himself. So each one of us has a bit of his God likeness. He made us in his image and likeness. So we have all those same gifts, powers within us. We just haven't been tapping. You talk about amnesia. It's worse than amnesia, like you say. It's like we're like walking dead. And I could imagine how he feels as our father and as our creator. He created us. And he's probably thinking, oh my God, he's probably talking to myself and saying, oh my God, I created all these little people and I put so much of myself into them. What are they doing? What are they doing? Some of y'all are doing it for bad. Yeah, some of y'all are doing it for good. Come on, my children. Y'all don't know the power that lies in you, that you have, that I gave you. Even though you might be in the sky or wherever you are, in the trees or in the whatever, I created you on land. I created you in a being, a form that allows you to carry out those powers. Oh my goodness, Barbara.
Can you imagine? It would be like, let's say you and your husband were so musical, and you've just had music, and your parents, and you come from a musical background, and you have children, and your children are gifted with that talent for music, and you have a daughter who sings like a nightingale. Her voice is so clear and beautiful and powerful, and yet she refuses to sing. Yeah. Or even worse, she doesn't recognize it. So she's like, walks around, oh no, I can't sing. I don't have a good voice. Yeah. I mean, oh my God, you would just like, oh, it's like such a waste. And I imagine, like you were saying, that's how God must be feeling.
Painful. It's painful.
And we can all change that in an instant, just right here. I hope that somebody on this call that's watching this interview hears this, and it just even plants the seed, because you can change that in an instant, just like this. And it's not that, there's an instant where now everything, all of a sudden you think sunny thoughts all day and nothing ever triggers you. But if it ignites plants the seed and ignites the fire that lets you know, oh, okay, I can't control this. It's not going to be easy. Right. And I know that the more I work on this, the more bounty I will have in my life. That's how it's been for me. I've seen that over and over in my clients. Yeah. It's like, you don't get to become, a champion at anything without practicing.
Yeah. And you don't have to take on everything all at once. You can start with one little thing. One little thing, and then you test that little one as a theory and see what happens because of a change in thought, a change in language, a belief in self, knowing that you're a creator who created you. And you just start with that one thing, and you just make a commitment, that one little thing that I've been thinking about myself or whatever it is that I can be or whatever, or can't, whatever, and you make that one change. And when you make that one change over time and you see, it's not that bad, and then it works out even better than you thought, then you take on another one, then you take on another one.
Yeah. I remember, and it can be something as simple as this. Years ago, I lived in New York City,
Mhm.
And I have always been a really shy, kind of a mousy girl. I know it's probably hard
Really,
to
really,
imagine that
Barbara.
now. Yeah, totally. And and I lived in New York City, and I realized I had a serious lack of confidence. Right, so it was, everything was just because I was, the thoughts, right? They were just
Mhm.
telling me how unworthy I was. And so I decided one day just to experiment. And, when I would walk down the street, I was always walking down, looking straight ahead,
Wow.
walking down the street like this. And I said, okay, I'm just going to try something between the subway and my apartment. I'm going to stand
Just
up.
there, just there.
That's just that one that's like 3 blocks. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to put my chest out. I'm going to put my shoulders back. I'm going to look ahead, and I'm going to make myself look people in the eye
Yeah,
as they're walking towards me. And
yeah.
oh my God, Kareem, it was so scary.
Oh
So
my
scary.
God.
So scary. I mean, and I felt like a total fraud. It's like, I'm forcing myself to do this when inside I'm really doing this,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And it was amazing because I didn't get more than a block into it where I started feeling more confident.
Whoa.
I noticed my feeling was shifting. And so I started doing that every day. And
Whoa.
every day I started feeling a little bit more confident. So there's something kind of concrete that
Of
your
course.
viewers can
And that
grab
was just
onto.
3 blocks.
That was
That
just
was
three
just three
blocks.
blocks. So when I mention about doing something small, it doesn't have to be anything major. I mean, even to change the color of your hair or cut your hair or go into a barber shop or just shop in a different place.
Did you say shopping? Oh boy.
Right? We are just regular creatures of habit. We go this one place, we do this one thing just over and over and over like a damn robot. And we don't seek to experience something new. And it's just to say to yourself, you know what? I am not going to go to Walmart today. I'm going I'm going to go wherever else.
I'm going to go to Target.
Oh
Oh,
my
no.
God. Yeah, yeah. Make sure you walk with a heart medication. Make sure,
Love it.
right? And your oxygen tank. And right? You make sure you walk with it. And then to top it off, you should tell your friends, tell your family. That's what you're going to do. And then post it on Facebook. I went on, and my God, I was palpitating, but it worked out fine. I'm still alive. I, I actually met Barbara, over at Target. Isn't that awesome? Right? And you had a different experience. You realized they had different foods, they had a different whatever. The price was better than probably Walmart. Why the hell have I been shopping all these years at Walmart? Forget Walmart. And as simple as that. You just open yourself to a new experience and get out of the comfort zone, which I'm sure was created by Mr. Ego. I'm sure the comfort zone was created by Mr. Ego and the insane people in the asylum.
Of course.
Oh my God, Barbara, what is going on? What can we, okay, we're talking to people today. What can we tell people immediately that they can act on? Just two or three things, or even one thing. Let's just give it one.
One
The
thing.
one thing that they can do to take action on for them to have a shift.
I love it. So notice you can start with your thoughts or your body. Sometimes it's easier to start with your feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
notice your feeling. And one of the best ways to really be aware of that is just notice your body.
Mm.
Okay. So is my heart fluttering? Do I feel light? Do I feel heavy? Like just take a second and just notice what you're feeling.
Become
And
aware.
then become aware. Yes, always awareness. And then bring it into what thoughts have I been thinking?
So
So
let's use an example. Let's say I wanted to go somewhere, and I'm saying to myself, I'm trying to convince myself of the reason to go, but I know deep down in me, this is the reason I'm going, which is not really maybe a good reason. And the feelings that are coming up in me, are ones of anxiety,
fear. Uh-huh.
Yeah, anxiety, fear, nothing pleasant, nothing still. Let's call it that. Nothing pleasant, nothing really still. To say a peace within myself with the decision to go to that particular place. What is that? What is happening there?
That's great. So I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing. She's an outdoor guide. She leads people on these amazing like backcountry trips and all this. She's a dear, dear friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a saying. She says that she has discovered that there's only one small difference between fear and courage.
Mm-hmm.
That only one thing that separates fear from courage, and that is movement.
Mm-hmm.
One step.
Mm-hmm.
One step. When you're standing there thinking about what you're going to do
Mm-hmm.
and how scared you are and the anxiety that you're feeling,
Mm-hmm.
take one step towards it. What's one small thing that I can do towards doing that? So it might be to pick out a hat that I'm going to wear.
Mm-hmm.
It might be to walk to the door and put my hand on the doorknob.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It might be to look for my keys.
Mm-hmm.
So just one step, and that catapults you into courage. So it's one step and then perhaps another step and then another step, but they cascade in turning and transforming or transmuting that fear into courage.
But should I really go? My thing is it really my ego talking, or is it my inner self, my true self talking? Because I don't want to do the thing that the ego is telling me to do, because what the ego is saying is the asylum.
Yeah. So if it's something that's out of your comfort zone, you can, it's a pretty good bet that it's your ego talking and it's fear. Okay. So again, you get to ask yourself, and here's what you want to do, Corinne. You always want to anchor yourself to what is it that I want.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason that's important for you to go to that event. Maybe it's a networking event that has the potential of forwarding your business or helping you get a client.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask yourself, so now you're standing in your room thinking, oh, I don't want to go to this event. People are going to ask me questions. I don't want to face them. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And your mind is going to start inventing all the reasons that you should do. So stop thinking those reasons, stop weaving the web of story, and ask yourself, what do I want? Well, I want clients, I want to make more money, I want that house and whatever, right? Okay, what's it going to take? Not why can't I get myself to go this, what's it going to, but you see, you have to have an anchor. It has to anchor to what you want. So what will it take for me to have those things? Well, it's going to take for me getting out there and meeting people. And okay, great. So what's it going to take for me to get to this event? Do you get what I'm saying?
What if it may risk you? What if going to something may risk you?
Well, it will.
Yeah.
It will. Guess what? If there's something that you want, anchor everything to what you want. If there's something that you want, you are going to have to risk to get it. That's the nature of growth. That's how growth works. So we get to tell our brains, and our brain, remember, our brain wants to keep us safe. So if you appease your brain, those crazy people all day long, you'd sit in your room with the lights out and you'd just breathe air and eat food, and your brain would be plenty happy. But the minute you want something, right, that's the first step in creation, is wanting something, desire, right? So the minute you want something, now that's going to pull you towards growth, right? If you didn't want anything, there'd be no reason to grow.
Yeah, or create.
Well, that's what creation is growth, right? So you want something, so you want to bring it back to what do you want. That's why I call it that anchor, or it's almost like that hook that's going to pull you. So get clear again on what do I want. And then whatever your brain is telling you, you just know it's a story to keep you safe. And yes, it is going to be risky. Going for what growth is by nature risky. Right? I mean, unless you're talking about jumping out of an airplane or something like that. And
I need to do one day, yes. I've had a few friends friends. I've had a few friends who have done it and they're still alive. So I'm like, in my brain, if they have done it 1 or 2 times and they haven't splattered, then it's possible.
Well, I make it, I advise my clients, and I do myself, I make it a practice to do things that scare me regularly.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, I took up whitewater kayaking.
Nice.
Yeah. And I don't know if you know
always wanted to do that. That is
Oh
dangerous.
my God. It's very dangerous, and there's like 112 ways you can die. And it's scary as hell. And I found myself like in this thing too, I mean, I can't even tell you, Corrine, how many eddy is a spot of calm water near the shore where you kind of rest before you go out into the current and go through all the rapids and the boulders and everything. But I can't tell you how many eddies I've sat in, like literally sobbing. Like, I can't do this.
But your brain is already telling you, I could see myself dying 112 ways.
Exactly. And it's so funny if you ask like the people who are leaders. There's usually a leader, and they'll like, we're going into a really scary rapid, right?
Yeah.
And big waves and folds and things that'll flip you and turn you.
Oh,
and I would sit there. I can't even tell you that they laugh at me. I laugh at myself. I would sit there in the eddy before we enter this, and I would have them outline every single thing. Yeah. So I say, okay, so I want to start on river left, right? Yes, and then there's a boulder, and then I go to river right, and then I got to shoot back over again, and then I go.
Hold on, Barbara. What if the rock moves?
It does. The river moves, dear. It's constantly moving. But
what if the rock gets up and moves and says, I heard Barbara is coming down this river. And
well, here's the thing. Well, here's my point. Right? So all of that is in the brain. All of that is me trying to find a way to feel safe doing this through my thoughts, right? Corrine, the reality of it, when they would tell me like 7 moves, you go here, then whatever you do, get over to the other side of it. Like the minute your boat starts shooting through the water,
who the hell is thinking? Who the hell is remembering?
All those thoughts, I don't know what to do. You're just reacting. You're like,
Who the hell is thinking about that? Do you pull out your little paper and pen and say, oh, you told me that there was supposed to be a rock here? I don't. No, by that time everything has gone. You're like,
everything's gone. You're just reacting, right? And so your thoughts can't help you in that situation anyway, right? And
what a friend the thought is at that point. The same thoughts that were putting you into fear mode. Suddenly, when fear hits, it leaves you. You can't think. Imagine that.
You can't think, and that's when you have to move into trust.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to trust and your body. So, hopefully at that point you've done enough, how to control your boat enough. Mm-hmm. So you just have to leave it up to your body. But beside, all of my drilling the leader to find out the best route, thinking that I was really fear, because my brain was also like weaving 100 reasons why I shouldn't go down that river.
Of course.
Right. But what made me finally point my boat towards the rapid and take a stroke and go in it is what I wanted.
Yeah.
I wanted to go through it. I didn't want to go through it necessarily. But at that point I didn't, right? But I wanted to have the experience. I wanted to get on the other side. I wanted to get better and enjoy this sport. So I have to anchor that into, I want this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or else I would have just gotten out of the river and said, screw it. Yeah. I'll figure out a way to get home.
Everybody has come back and said, whoa, Barbara, we had fun. And you're like, damn, I should have been there.
And there were times, I have to admit, I can think of one time where I did that. I was like, I just couldn't control those thoughts. And I said, but here's the thing, I didn't make it mean anything. I'm trying to make it mean something. I'm trying to make it be like my intuition.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't. It was just fear. Fear often masquerades as our intuition, by the way.
Oh, Jesus. Tell me about it.
Sorry.
Yeah. Fear masks as our intuition. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we believe there's so many things rolling around. We start to believe the fear is really telling us, and especially when it's working in connection with the brain, which is here to protect us, keep us safe. That fear is working with the brain, talking to each other and say, look, there's evidence. And of course, they're getting all the mutiny people. There's evidence to show you, but there's nothing real. There's nothing tangible.
No. No, there isn't. And you can always, I have this with clients a lot, right? I teach people to create businesses. So this is where this comes up a lot, right? They get gripped in fear, and they they come to you and say, Barb, I just have this intuition. This isn't the right time for me. And it's like, oh, like right then I know, right? I know. So but in other words, what I'm saying is, if it's something that you want, and you're creating a story that it's not the right time for you, or whatever the story is, that this, I shouldn't go that way. But if it's going to something that you really want, you should go on high alert and say, that's probably not my intuition. I'm not saying it never is, but it probably, like 99.5% of the time, it's not your intuition. It's fear that's taken over the ship again.
Yeah. Remind me of your website, Barbara. Let me bring it up and showcase it here.
Thank you. It's my name. For now, it's my name. Barbara, which I spell funky, Barbara Ames, Barbera.
B-A-R-B.
Actually, I don't want to take people there. You know what I'd rather do, Corinne? I'd rather give them a gift.
Yeah, let's go. Tell me what it is. I'm putting it in now.
Beautiful. I have a gift. It's called the Supernova Breakthrough Formula.
Oh, yes. I think I signed up for that. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, it's pretty much what we're talking about. And it's how to grapple with those thoughts, how to grapple with those stories and those beliefs.
Where do we get it?
So you go to Success Supernova. So successsupernova.com/breakthrough.
Okay, hold on. Let me get that here.
Yeah, Success Supernova. There's 3 S's in the middle.
Yes.
Success Supernova. A lot of S.
Yes.
successsupernova.com/breakthrough. It's a little really powerful steps in there that you can take right now to grapple with the stories that you have that are holding you back, the stories that form our beliefs.
I am trying to share the screen, but it's kind of stuck here right now. Just give me a second. The internet is kind of giving us some issues.
Well, it's just amazing if you think about it, that there you are in Trinidad, Tobago, and here I am in Colorado. We can still have this conversation.
Of course we can. Of course we can. I'm trying to see what's happening here. Barbara, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Hold on one second. It's coming up now.
Oh.
Are you seeing it?
It's starting to, yeah.
Yeah, great. Yeah, it was just kind of stalled there for a second. Yeah.
There it is.
Yes, so beautiful.
Supernova Breakthrough Formula.
Yeah, so it's just an easy page, and I love the universe in the back. Yes, so it's
that's my branding. Yeah, and the other thing that comes with it, one of the big steps, and you do it so well, and you started off the call like this, Karina's with gratitude.
Yeah.
And for people that don't have a gratitude habit yet, I've included a gratitude journal you can see in there. And it's just a neat place to start developing that habit of thinking of all the wonderful, amazing things you have in your life to be grateful for.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's hard to be consistent with a gratitude journal, but there are people who do it, so it is very possible, and I encourage persons every day. I started, stop, but it's something that we need to do for the rest of our lives. And there are many challenges. If you do a Google search on gratitude challenge or gratitude journals, there are so many different versions that you can adopt. And it could be just one. You can start off your morning just as you wake up, grab your journal and start being thankful for whatever. You can do it in the midday, you can do it at night. Most people may do it in the end of the day, to just reflect on the day. It may be one thing, it may be 30 things. I know there's a challenge where you write 30 things, but each day it must be a different 30 things. So whatever you wrote yesterday, you cannot try to duplicate it today, which forces you to really look for the things each day that you're thankful for. I think that's kind of hard for a first time. And it's like, oh, we talk about making it easy. You did the 3 blocks thing to lift your head up and look people in the eye. So we're not going to make things difficult. You can start with 1, and then as you start with 1 or 2, you start thinking about so many other things. It will start coming to you, what you should be grateful for. Yeah.
You know, I've had a gratitude practice for probably 30 years now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is, it sort of started spontaneously, but so when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is start thinking of things that I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
And it could even be the leaf outside my window or my little dog. It doesn't matter. And the number of things, I don't fuss over that much, but what I'm looking for is I'm looking for that feeling of gratitude. So it starts as a thought, right? And I start thinking, yeah, I'm grateful for my dad. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for that leaf and that tree. And I keep doing that until I get that feeling. And do you know what I mean by feeling? It's like when a stranger does something really kind for you and you get this welling up in your heart. So whatever that feels like for you, like that's what I'm looking for myself, is that feeling. And I don't get out of bed until my thoughts have led to that feeling. So when I get out of bed in the morning, I am feeling love and gratitude.
That resets your day. There's nothing and no one that can throw you off that vibration. Awesome.
Well, that's not true, but yeah, you can get it back again.
Yeah, but you can get it back. You can look at them and say, you're not that leaf, you're not that flower, and I'm really not going to make you throw me off that.
There you go. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Barbara Ames. This has been a wonderful conversation. I mean, we went all over the place, but I think it's really on the same journey. It's really on the same path. We gave some really great examples of self-imposed limitations and how really to shift, to take charge, and not to feel overwhelmed with that shift. We can do something very, very small, and what somebody may think insignificant, to get you to the significant part in your life that can blossom and allow you to have the abundance and life that you deserve. Thank you so much, Barbara, for being on Between the Lines.
Thank you, Corinne. It's been lovely. I appreciate it.